Hello, today I'll be showing you a simple method for blind solving a 3x3 Rubik's Cube that a good friend of mine shared with me a while back. The basic steps are to solve the edges and then solve the corners using 3 variations of a single algorithm. To start, I'll demonstrate the algorithms and what they do. First, we have the famous J-Perm, which, as its name suggests, will swap these 2 corners and these 2 edges while keeping all of the top face colors the same, and it will form this sort of J-like shape. And here is the way to do it. You start with R, U, R prime, F prime, R, U, R prime, U prime, R prime, F, R2, U prime, R prime, U prime. And as you can see, we did indeed succeed in swapping these 2 corners and these 2 edges. And the top face is still uniformly white in this case. And since you're just swapping these 4 pieces without disturbing anything else on the cube, in order to get it back to the original orientation, then you would just perform J-Perm another time to get it back to the solved state. And next we have T-Perm. So T-Perm will swap these 2 corners and these 2 edges while also keeping the orientations the same so that white stays on top. And here we're going to see that T-Perm is actually the same exact algorithm as J-Perm, except the place where we start the algorithm is sort of cycled 4 steps backwards, so that instead of starting with RU R prime F prime, we start with RU R prime U prime. So here is the full alg. It's RU R prime U prime R prime F R2 U prime R prime U prime R U R prime and F prime. So you can see these 2 corners once again got swapped, and this edge and this edge also got swapped, while leaving everything else intact. And again, you can just sort of perform the algorithm one more time to revert it back to the previous state. And finally, we have corner perm, which will swap this corner with this corner down here, and the back 2 edges over here. And this one is, again, the exact same algorithm as the previous 2, except we break up the R2 move from previous times, where one R is at the beginning of the algorithm and the other R is at the very end. So, and then we just sort of cycle through the moves once again. So here is the full alg for that. R, U prime, R prime, U prime, R, U, R prime, F prime, R, U, R prime, U prime, R prime, F, and R. So as you can see, these 2 edges swapped while keeping the white face still on the top. And this corner and this corner were swapped. One thing to take note here is that the white edge, the white face of this corner piece is supposed to was up here, so that there's actually some sort of corner rotation going on over here. And for this tutorial, I'll be using the front face as the primary color of the piece. And since this is the white, green, red piece that used to go here, and the primary color is green, then that means when it was in this position, the primary color is towards the back of the cube. So it would be green was over here, and now it's in the front. And then obviously these edges are still sort of the same with white on top. So you would just do that corner perm again to revert it back to the previous state of the cube. Alright, so once you have this sort of down for all three of the permutations, then you can basically go ahead and try to solve a 3x3 armed with just these algorithms. And I'll be showing you sort of why it's possible to use this method for blind solving better than, say, the beginner's method for 3x3. So let's start off by just scrambling the cube.